biotech. I recall something like low, medium, and high technology. Yep, good, Zian. Recalling is good, is one thing. You also need to remember and recall what do they mean and how they are different, yeah? Between low, medium, and high tech. Types, emerging, energy power. All right, good. So Rick highlighted here, manufacturing, medical, energy, and power. All right, looks like it's all there. Okay, good one by Jason as well. Obsolete, current, emerging, and technologies which are seldom used or has already been obsolete. On the other hand, manufacturing, electric manufacturing. All right, okay. So towards the end, at least I see some of you highlighting some of the areas. Oh wow, I'm not sure if Uzma got this and copied pasted this from somewhere, but still fine because this is what we covered as well across high, medium, and also low batch of technology. Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome. Different fields. Okay, we're good to go. So actually, to be fair, probably classification was the week before as well. But anyway, I'm going to end the question here and we're going to move on. So this week, we are going to cover one specific type of technology. Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on this area because it's very wide. Yeah, it goes across different areas as well. And as we go into from the definition to the main areas of technology, when we reach types and application, you will then start seeing in what area and which aspect of it does it really cover extensively. Yeah, all right. These are your learning outcomes. So the definition of biotechnology is important. The good thing is that the definition is in its name. We'll see it right after this. The various types of biotechnology, and then we're going to look into its examples and practical applications, as well as the use of biotech in our daily lives. So these are the key terms. You will find there's actually more, of course, that you can identify from them, but as part of the early introduction of biotech and to see where does it come from, a bit into its history is where you will see fermentation and those words coming up. All right, so this is what I meant earlier when I said biotech. The term itself originates from two different words. So bio, anything which is biological, refers to something which is life-related. Yeah. On the other hand, of course, then technology comes into place, and we have already defined technology before this: skills, the tools, the study, certain aspects of the applied science that goes into technology, right? So literally, as seen as the word that goes across the screen here, the study of tools or skills from living things. All right. Can you think of applications of biotechnology at this point? Yeah, when we are trying to define it, anything that when you combine biology and technology together, then this is basically what biotech is supposed to go into. The second part of that, the definition here highlights solving the problem and creating beneficial products by using living organisms. Yeah, type in the chat without you going through before I even show you more examples here and there. What comes to mind when you think about biotech? What comes to mind? You can leave your thoughts in the chat. I'm not sure if someone is messaging me in the chat. Okay, it's not one of you. All right, so let's see, what have you been mentioning? So Aoyang says pregnancy test kit. Oh wow, pregnancy test kit based on biotech. Possible? Yep, definitely. Genetic screening, good one by Uzma. And then there is Samuel says farming, agriculture. Crit highlighted CRISPR, very good. GMOs as well. We are going to cover GMO. Harish says genetic engineering. Zian says I saw the video that was provided and cheese is a type of biotech. Yep, you are absolutely right. Bakar said PCR, crossbreeding, face recognition. Yeah, good point as well by Jawan. Jamil says crop production, exactly. Medical engineer, genetic engineering. Sardar says humans. Humans is not enough, yeah. You only covered the bio part of it. Where's the technology part of it? Jamil says healthcare. All right, good. So when I do this, I can see that some of you went through the links I gave on Wakelet, right? The resources, you can see a lot of examples there as well. So for those of you who did, I can see some of your examples here shows that you have gone through those resources. And I guess the majority of you came into class without even bother looking at those materials and resources. Cheng Hao says waste management. You are correct as well, right? Involves a lot of environmental or even industrial related activities. Samuel says butter. As much as I would like to say that you're right, butter, I can consider it, yeah, even though, of course, it always talks about more leaning towards things like cheese and yogurt and maybe beer and so on and so forth. But yeah, I can try putting butter in there as well. Processed milk at the end of the day. Genetic engineering like synthetic growth hormones. All right, thank you, Fatih. All right, so I think you have a good idea across when it comes to defining biotech, right? The definition of it is very high level, but sometimes when you try identifying what are the examples, right, you may not immediately see it until you start writing it down and you go like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things that relates to biotech. Yeah, when you're defining it, it's very simple. You saw it in the previous slide. Yeah, it's basically just technology based on biology. You're trying to combine them both, but the intention here is to create something which is beneficial. Yeah. So traditionally, when it first started on how biotechnology started, I think these two words were the key terms you saw earlier. Fermentation, right? So fermentation, of course, is a process that involves yeast and so on and so forth. So any process that involves these is basically reflecting the traditional biotech. Not much technology per se is being used. There is, yeah. Remember, technology, as I've highlighted in the first week, is not just about devices and machines. It can be a skill, it can be a know-how, it can be a way of you doing something can also be considered technology. Yeah, so please get your mind out of just thinking technology must be only devices and machines that we use. Selective breeding. So based on these 2 points here of fermentation and selective breeding, I think you all can understand that aspects of farming, aspects of agriculture is how biotechnology first started. And this is the main message of this slide. Yeah. So selective breeding here can go for both breeding of animals or even of plants. But of course, here the whole idea is something with a desirable trait as you want to try identifying. Yeah. So took advantage of natural microbial processes. So that the technical term here is microbial because microorganisms are involved. Or even artificially selected phenotypes. So phenotypes are, of course, referring to something which is of genetic traits across. So the genetics of these selected organisms proceeded naturally. So what happens after that, of course, with the whole process going through and how it evolves, then it is something that will then take place because it takes place. The word here is used naturally because then everything else after that, once you have combined them in the beginning, everything else that happens after that is naturally. Because that's how living organisms work, right? I hear someone, but I'm not sure what you're trying to say. As usual, I will always highlight this in case all of us are hearing something we don't want to hear. All right, you have muted yourself. Okay, so the traditional fermentation, of course, what are the type of examples that come to mind? Immediately, bread comes into mind. Yeah, when it comes to fermentation, it's most popular because of this particular food. And again, bread can date back long time ago. Yeah, dating back to 200 years ago, the earliest breads that existed and so on, the Egyptians, the Romans that has used it. It's a particular process on how it is basically being made. Yeah, all right. So I'm quite sure there's a lot of bread lovers here, and a lot of us do eat some type and some kind of bread that we have today. Of course, originally, when we look at it, it's just how the whole process of this dough and flour basically grows and ferment itself and expands to create what we call bread basically today. Yeah. The other aspect, of course, so is it like cloning or the selective for the selective breeding? No, not. We are going into cloning. Cloning is much later. If you notice, my first 2 slides here is still talking about the traditional biotechnology, where biotech has first started. So in the beginning, selective breeding is just you choosing certain types of animals to combine them together because you want certain traits. And you know farmers do that, yeah, because if they know that they have a very good male animal and with certain traits that they want, and a very good female characteristics. So their selective breeding is called selective because they will put those animals together and then breeding can continue from that onwards. So it's very traditional. Right now we are still talking about the traditional process because we just want to understand where biotechnology originated from. So in food production, of course, as highlighted here, cheese, yogurt, cheese, vinegar, and of course alcohol as well when it comes to wine or beer and so on and so forth. All this comes also from the same process of fermentation, right? So when traditionally everyone started understanding how these were made, so you have to understand here is that back then, and of course how in history, they know that when you do this, you get this. Yeah, you ferment and then you get cheese. You ferment and then you get yogurt. You get wine. You get vinegar. You get beer, or whatsoever. They understand that when they do the process, they get this. But what happens in the process is the one that was not being understood that much. Yeah. So of course, in this case, with evolution, with how things have grown across, of course, we understand that there's a lot of play in terms of chemical plays going into it, lactic acids, acetic acids, nucleates, proteins were involved to then understand what this process, what exactly happens under fermentation. Yeah, so that's where biotech actually is being born out of mainly when we look into it. So as highlighted earlier, selective breeding, of course, across animals and plants, I think this is something that is quite common. I'm not sure how many of you are into gardening. Anyone here who's into gardening? Can you raise your hands? Interestingly, whenever I ask this question, for the last 2 years that we have been in a lockdown, I noticed a lot of people started doing gardening. You know, they started going into gardening and doing plants, doing planting. They have a green finger. I hope I'm using that right, and so on. Oh my, not many of you by the looks of it. I see only how many hands are raised. Saad and Uzma, only the two of you. Saad, what do you grow? What do you like growing, or what have you grown before?
Sir, I've grown so many. I've grown trees. I've set my garden. I love to plant flowers. I love greenery.
Okay, all right. You sound like you're quite sick, Saad. Are you okay?
I was so thrilled.
Okay, all right. I hope it's nothing serious. And
Yes,
of
it's
course,
getting better.
okay, all right. Especially nowadays, I think all of us are just having this phobia of when you walk around, you hear someone sneeze, you hear someone cough, and then the whole crowd just goes. But anyway, hope you get well soon, Saad. Uzma, what do you plant?
Yes,
What do you
sir.
grow?
Back in my home country, I think since childhood, they teach us how to plant sunflowers as like a school project. So that's how I got into gardening. I planted a pomegranate tree once.
Oh, wow.
The pomegranates were not edible, but nevertheless, it was still planted. Yeah.
So they grew, they bore fruits, but you couldn't eat them. Why?
Well, you see, where I lived, it was technically a desert. Growing things was not easy unless you're an expert.
Okay.
So the pomegranates were edible, but they were a little too sour. It was like you were eating acid. So
Understood.
yeah.
Pretty much when you say that, obviously it sounds like there's a very high content of lactic acid in there, and that is something that causes that kind of sourness to happen. But thank you, Uzma.
You're welcome.
All right, so some of you are into plants. I'm quite sure there are more animal lovers. I hope I'm thinking in class. Are there animal lovers in class? These are the two most popular category when you get people to see whether they are into plants or they're into animals. A show of hands, anyone who's an animal lover? I'm not sure if I should say, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you any questions. Okay, all right. So at least I think I see much more of you who are animal lovers, which is good. Out of 76 of you, I see about 20. Yeah, there's already 20 hands raised. I would include myself into the list as well, and I love animals. Thank you. You can lower your hands. So when it was in the beginning of how traditionally biotech was going into, as I've just highlighted to you, when you know there's a certain breed of the animal, like what farmers do, when they know that there's certain breeds that is providing enough yield, they provide enough milk, or they provide good amounts of meat, and so on and so forth. So those are the breeds that they prefer, because those are the traits that they want. So what they do is they then isolate some of these animals together so that they can continue breeding, and in the hopes of obviously having basically the children that they have, the babies that they will have will also take up those selective traits. Yeah. A quick question here. So when we do this, when you combine animals and you put them together, or when you with plants, that is also very obvious that can happen. My question here is that, do you know of, and have you even heard of this? Yeah. Do hybrid animals really exist? Name one that you know of. Do you know of any hybrid animals which they combine? The examples I was talking about are when they combine similar animals, right? But they want certain genetic traits. But I'm talking about different animals. Have you heard of those? Yeah, so interestingly, so Zian said liger. I'm not sure. Yuan Ming said husky. Yuan Ming, what's husky? Yeah?
The dog and then they join like a wolf and a dog together. They wanna how to.
Wow, you mean between a wolf and a dog, and you get something called husky, is it?
I think I spell wrong. Let me check the spelling.
Oh, okay. You mean huskies. Huskies are, to be fair, I don't think huskies are hybrid animals, but I will have to check on that as well. Interestingly, thank you, Yuan Ming, for highlighting huskies. I see more and more ligers here. A lot of you mentioned liger. Have you all seen a liger before? And for those of you who don't know, I hope you can try guessing what is a liger combined from. Ayami say no. Yes, liger. Munchkin cats. Some of you who highlighted what you have just mentioned, if you can share a photo or share an image in the chat, that would be good as well, yeah? Yes, tiger and lion, ligers again. Not sure. Tigon. Oh, it's a tiger and lion as well, but then you have flipped and said tigon instead of liger. Yes, but no idea. Mules. I'm not sure. Like a zebra and donkeys. Not sure. Not really, but I heard about exchanging a dog's head instead. Oh my god, this sounds creepy. I'm not sure. Lion, tiger, but ligers can't breed. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Beefalo. What is the buffalo combined with, Winky? Beefalo? Cow and buffalo, is it?
Cow.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Winky. Yeah, cow and buffalo, at least you see that they are quite similar traits, and probably a hybrid animal from that is a bit more possible. Zebra and horse, by the looks of it, a lot of you are highlighting that. Jack lion, all right. Leopard. What's a leopard? I'm assuming Darren is lion and leopard, is it? Lepon also there is. Wow, leopard and lion, I guess. Corgi pom. So if we start going into the dog breeds, you will also realize suddenly there's a lot of hybrid types of breeds. Yeah, it's a combination of both. Good. So actually, when you start looking at the list, I think you start realizing that, hey, come to think of it, there is a lot, right? Oh wow. Bunny, I didn't know wolfins actually exist. Is it real? Are you sure it's real? Was Bunny trying to say something? No?
Yes, sir. I've actually come across many on the internet.
Okay, all right. No worries. If you guys can't respond, I do understand. You can always just respond in the chat, yeah? So there's a lot of you. Okay, I see that you are sharing ligers a lot there. And Rifat is trying to be funny with gorilla plus human is Vivin, yeah? I've done cross-pollination using only a toothbrush. Oh, wow. Dolly is an example of cloning, yeah? It's not really a hybrid animal. All right, okay, good. I see quite an interesting list of things that are being shown here. So Aspar say a wolfin is a hybrid of a whale and dolphin. Yeah, but I'm not sure if they really exist though. But anyway, all right, thank you. So a lot of you are highlighting more and more different examples. So it's good that you're even aware of it. And interestingly, you knew about some of them, and maybe you have probably even seen some of them before. I have real life. I've probably seen a liger once. I totally forgot now where was it, where was I, and so on. But that was something that I remember witnessing. Of course, now when you think about animals and when you think about plants, it's going to be the same as well. Yeah, there are certain plants that has been mixed in together to then create hybrid fruits that we see today, right? So if with animals it can happen, obviously with plants it can also happen as well. But again, looking into this is something that goes through a lot of research just to end up finding out that is this something that is possible. Yeah. All right. Oh wait, what's happening here? So Vivin is having a comeback. Just in case you guys are not looking at that. Saad says 127605. Okay. Who are you telling that to? All right. So now we move away from the traditional aspect of biotech. Then we start going into the modern aspect of it, which is also some of the examples some of you in class were also mentioning in the beginning. Yeah, genetics, molecular biology, right? So this goes down to our genes. Molecular, of course, we go right down to a molecule level of biotechnology. All right. Now, since there were areas of genetics and molecular biology that was gone into, there has been a lot of creations out of this. Yeah, they led to a lot of innovations. There's a lot of newer applications that has come into play. On the other hand, as you can see, in more modern biotechnology uses genetic engineering and as well as gene cloning. So cloning, I think someone highlighted the word dolly earlier, but then of course that's something that that is very popular because it's one of the first animals which were being cloned, one of the first living beings that were being cloned back then, and that's why Dolly the sheep was being highlighted by someone in the chat. Genetic engineering, of course, then there is a manipulation of your genes so that again you are getting the traits that you want. Yeah, so you are manipulating this. The one you saw selective breeding earlier is whereby you can find ways to combine animals and naturally per se, but genetic engineering goes right down to modifying your genes. Yeah. So Samuel says in the chat, I don't know hybrid plants, but I do know Musang King. Well, talking about durian here in Malaysia, a lot of the newer breeds of durian that you see is exactly from the traditional way of breeding. Yeah, a lot of different farmers, durian farmers in Malaysia are always trying new breeds. Yeah, that's why you see there are a lot of breeds that we have for durian today that doesn't exist many years ago. All right, so just running through some of the definitions of these terms that we saw earlier. So genetic engineering, as I said, is to manipulate your DNA basically, right? Is to manipulate in terms of modifying your genes. So the manipulation here is due to recombinant DNA. So this term exists here because recombinant DNA is combining DNAs from different sources. Yeah. A simple way of thinking about this is like how naturally people are being born, right? It's a combination of DNA from the father and the mother to then basically create a new baby. Now you are trying to do this basically outside that environment. But the concept is still the same. You are recombining DNAs in order to get a certain trait that you want in the future. Yeah. Gene cloning, of course, on the other hand, is you are reproducing the gene to be the exact way in terms of what the donor is. Yeah, so it's a bit different. Recombining DNA technology may not provide you with an exact particular result, but gene cloning is supposed to duplicate and is basically copy and paste. Yeah, so that's how it's mainly different. So recombinant DNA technology, as you see here, there are the donor DNA on the top left, and then there are vectors which are involved, and you are taking a SNP from each other, right? And you combine them together. Don't worry about the technological and the chemical terms being used here. To be honest, you are not being tested on terminologies like this. But just like, for example, in this slide is for you to know what is recombinant DNA. And again, I like to always go back into the word itself, the phrase itself, explains, is quite self-explained, right? You are recombining DNAs. So as you recombine them, as you will see here, then this is the new the DNA which has been combined into together. Yeah, they will then be incorporated into whatever beings that you're looking for. In this case, is even being introduced into bacterial cells to see how do they react to it, to see what happens, and so on and so forth. All right. So this is one of the dominant modern biotechnology. It has produced a lot of examples and a lot of applications out of it is disease-resistant plants. This is one of the most popular one around. Genetically engineered bacteria, which will then now be able to, as highlighted here, to degrade environmental pollutants for environmental purposes, to produce things like we have today, which is antibiotics, and also advances in human healthcare, whereby they start by knowing your genes, your traits, they can actually predict and to know what do you actually go through. Yeah, what are the issues that you go through. All right, before we go into this, I suddenly remembered one example. I'm not sure if anyone has done this before, but oh sorry, it's not 1, 2, 3, it's 23andMe. When I first was made known of this, I think it's something interesting to know about. Yeah, and I'm giving you just one example, and again, because this is a bit more popular in the US and they became popular worldwide because this company was one of the first to basically provide you with this service. So what they do is simple. Yeah, you pay this amount of money. Looks like it's only $79 now. It used to be much more expensive than this. They give you a saliva collection kit. Yeah. So what they do is that you they send this to you. You basically spit your saliva into one of the items that they give you there, and then you send it back to them so that they can do a lot of things with it. So they can break down your DNA. They identify certain things. They can identify who are your DNA relatives from around the world. You can even see how does your DNA influences your facial features, your taste, your smell, and other traits. Interestingly enough, this was something that a friend of mine who did, and she actually found out a lot of things health-related, health-related about herself, right down to even identifying what exactly is she allergic to. Are there certain types of things that she's consuming that is not really suitable for her, and so on and so forth, right? So it's quite interesting in that sense. And they will even track back and they will even show in terms of your lineage. Like for example, those of you who are probably a bit more interested in your family tree and so on and so forth, they can even identify which part of the world you come from. Yeah, because based on the genetic database that they have, they can actually do that and identify that as well. Yeah. So if you notice this two twins here who's holding this item here, so this is what they sent you, and then you have to spit basically into it and send it back to them. Yeah. So in terms of the reports and so on and so forth, they actually get quite a lot of detail. They actually provide quite a lot of detail just by identifying it all from your saliva alone. Yeah. I thought they would have some examples here, but I don't see it here now. Anyway, so again, this is only one of the many companies that are doing this today, right? Again, it's not just for the fun of it. You're actually going through to find out a lot of more relevant details, your medical conditions and issues and so on and so forth. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I see Sardar is asking a question here. He just said, what is genetic coding? All right, so now the first page just now showed you a bit of identifying. Oh yeah, you see, this is one example. So as shown here, someone sent it in. They will show you that you're European 50%. There is some aspect of you that is also considered East Asian, and they will go right down to even the countries and regions. Yeah, so as you can see, they already track about 2,000 plus ancestry regions. So genetic coding, of course, I think I'll just go down into. So there's quite some interesting stories here and there. Yeah, I wanted to show. So your DNA codings, your genetic codings goes right down to your chromosomes. Yeah, the combination of these 23 pairs of chromosomes that we have. Every single human being has this. So this is what makes up the genetic codings of ourselves. Yeah, they explain a lot of things. So as written here, find out what the 23 pairs of chromosome can actually tell you. Trait reports, family tree, DNA relative finder, maternal and paternal groupings, Neanderthal ancestry. So that's how far they can go back into to see which line do you actually originated from. Yeah. So yeah, just letting you know that something like that is very much available. And interestingly, as you can see, enter your email to unlock 20% off. So I guess it's another 20% off. Anyway, so Sa'ad is saying, have you tried this? No, I haven't tried. I got to know about it from a friend of mine who tried. But she said, no, the rest of the information that she found, she felt that it was is for fun, because like to know your ancestry, to know that if you are 50% European, are you 20% East Asian, and so on and so forth, and this and that. But to her, the information that made a lot of sense was the ones that even goes into her allergies. Yeah, things that she should avoid, food that she should not take. They even cover to that extent, because your body will function in a certain way that will not properly process certain things. So she was very appreciative of that, because then she started learning that she needs to avoid certain food and blah blah blah. Okay. Shami says, Shami is here apparently. We are all brothers and sisters. Are you sure, Shami? So now this is something you need to know a bit more in detail as well. There are the ones that we are covering is these 6 color classifications of biotech. All right, but there are more. There are basically more. I will show you a website later that goes into other areas as well. But the ones that we are mainly covering are the 6 that you see here. So unfortunately, this didn't load here. I'm just opening it. So if you do search for the types of color or biotechnology and so on and so forth, this website pops up a lot, right? So if you then look into the area of it, the interest is more of you exploring what are the different areas. We are going to look into the 6 that I just showed you just now. I'm sharing you with this particular area because I just want you to see that biotechnology's area is so huge and large that they cover a lot of different areas. Yeah, it goes right down to even other colors that we are not covering. Yeah, you see gold here, you see brown here, you see purple here, or in other words, violet here. You even see something called dark biotechnology, and this is the one that that came up and became an example by a lot of movies today, right? Why? Because you see biological warfare, bioterrorism, right, and so on and so forth. So it is from originally a specific aspect of biotechnology that has inspired, as you can see, a lot of movies that we are watching today as well. Yeah. So they all are not necessarily fiction. Yeah, they're not necessarily fiction, but a lot of them originated from a lot of these ideas mainly. So this site is something you can refer to. Do take the time to at least just run through the different types and see how are they being differentiated. All right, I'll move on for our aspect of it to cover the first color, which is red. So red, the area itself represents red because it's blood, and you see it's a lot to do with medicine and veterinary products. Yeah, so when we talk about medicine here, remember, it's not necessarily just talking about humans. We are also talking about animals as well. So it includes what? It includes something that is a very popular word today. It includes vaccines, it includes antibiotics, drugs, right? So there's even some certain things called regenerative therapies, whereby you are being healed not only on the surface level and how biologically you work, but going right down to the levels of your genetics and going right down to the levels of your molecules per se. Also includes the engineering of genetic cures through genomic manipulation. So again here, that was what I just highlighted, right? So you're manipulating your genes in order for you to avoid certain diseases. Yeah, as we all know, there are diseases which are hereditary, which means it is being passed down from one generation to another, in terms of your family line. Yeah, and with genetic manipulation, you realize that you can stop this. You can stop this from continuing to happen. And not to forget, of course, forensics use it a lot. If you have seen crimes and thriller shows, there's a lot of highlights about DNA profiling, and you have heard of, like, for example, the term CODIS, which is very popular because it's a criminal database. Anyone that has committed a crime before, you'll be placed into a database, and every country basically has their own criminal database of details as such. Yeah. So to make it easy to remember, red is blood. Blood is basically anything to do with medicine. Yeah. So to give you an example of a type of biotechnology under red is medical biotechnology, as shown here. So the use of living cells. So what they manipulate most of the time is related to living cells. Yeah. But of course, for the better health, for health purposes across, which this will also include finding cures and getting rid and preventing diseases, which is something we as human beings have gone through, one plague after the other, one pandemic and endemic after the other, to then get rid of a lot of these diseases that are affecting us. All right. So the two most popular examples are, of course, the vaccines and also antibiotics. But again, of course, for you to see how do they work differently, this slide is something for you to just quickly read. I will go into a quick table to show you the difference instead. Yeah. So as you will see here, they have quite a different function. What are vaccines? Basically, what do they destroy? As you can see, for vaccines, they destroy viruses, they destroy bacteria. Yeah. So here for antibiotics, what are they trying to do is they hunt down bacteria. Yeah, they are supposed to then kill bacteria. How do they actually do it? So antibiotics will basically go in, attack the bacteria, break it down, and causing the bacteria not to work, not to function anymore. But for vaccinations, if you notice, right, it is not that part. They don't go in and they don't necessarily attack the virus and kill the virus. What the vaccine do is that it actually stimulates your body to make sure that you can now be immune to certain types of viruses. Yeah. So the same thing that we are all going through now, the same thing that how from when we were born until now, there's a lot of different vaccines that we have to take because it is supposed to then teach the body to then fight against these viruses in the future, of course. Yeah. So they can be made up of different components. I'm not going to go much into that. And again, there can be a lot of side effects and so on and so forth. Yeah. Now, when you read the functions of these two, right? Which one here do you think you should take after you are affected? And which one here should you take before you are affected? Can you try guessing that in the chat? Which one here should you take after you are affected? And which one here should you take before you are affected? Is the answer quite obvious here? No? All right, awesome. The first two answers it already, all right? Wei Huan said antibiotics obviously is take after you are affected, and then vaccines is obviously you take before. All of you are absolutely right. Good. So now that you all know, so vaccines are important for prevention. Yeah, vaccines will then go into prevention mainly. But of course, antibiotics is then once that, in this case, as you can see, the function here clearly says that they go in, they break down that bacteria and to kill it so that it doesn't affect you anymore. So obviously you're already infected, you already have those bacteria within you, and that's why the antibiotics is supposed to go in and to break down bacteria. Yeah. Of course, just a quick one down here, as you can see here, sometimes antibiotics, depending on the ones that you are okay with, there can be a side effect of the antibiotic goes in, it doesn't just kill the bad bacteria, it also kills the good bacteria, which is something that we don't want as well on the other hand. Yeah. So again, of course, there's a pro and con to everything, but again, these are the two most, I would have to say, the most significant and popular findings from the red biotechnology, from medical technology. Yeah. All right, so that's basically about red, everything to do with medicine, as you can see there. We move on to green. So green then applies, again, I like this one because it relates a lot to its own color, everything to do with agricultural process. Yeah, right? So as being highlighted here, approaches that create new plant varieties, create biofertilizers, create biopesticides. So a lot of our fertilizers and pesticides are not necessarily natural, a lot of it that we have, but now, of course, with biofertilizers and biopesticide, biotech is trying to move towards those lines to create things more naturally. Again, selection and domestication of plants via the most popular process is micro propagation, on how you can combine these plants together. Yeah, designing transgenic plants. So therefore, you are modifying certain plants so that they are able to grow under specific conditions. Yeah. I'm quite sure all of you are aware that when it comes to even like fruits or a lot of plants and a lot of things that we consume, there used to be seasons, right? You always hear about, yeah, so it's this season, it's the cherry season now, so there's a lot of cherries. It's a mango season now, so there's a lot of mangoes. But with green technology, a lot of this does not necessarily follow along the lines of seasons anymore, right? They can basically exist throughout the year. So that's one other way of how a lot of these plants may have been transgenic. Their genes maybe have been modified in order for them to grow in different conditions and different timings of the year as well. Again, all for human benefits, I would like to say. Yeah. So examples are here, pest-resistant crops. So the most popular one, of course, is to avoid, because you do not want to keep spraying pesticides or onto a lot of these consumable items. So what you are doing is that you are making sure that the crops themselves are resistant to pests. Yeah. The most popular one is the third line down here, the fungus Bacillus. I don't even know how to pronounce this, but because the more popular one is for you to just call it BT, yeah, not BTS, BT Biotech. So, oh sorry, not BT Biotech. So the normal name for it is which is more known for everyone to call it is BT. Yeah, for those who are into biotech, this is one of the most popular, most commonly used worldwide today. Yeah. So what is being done is that they are being included into certain types of crops. So the most popular crop that is using BT today, is using this particular type of bacteria today, is corn. Yeah. Corn was one of the plants that was badly hit. Whenever there are pests around, because of how corn, in terms of its taste, in terms of its nutrition, and so on and so forth, a lot of pests were attacking it. So corn was basically, and of course, corn was also one of the main crops that were being consumed in the early years. So that's why this is one of the crops that they paid attention to. So as of today, if you notice, a lot of corns do have these particular line of a genetic line that they have, that they are now resistant to pests instead. So plant and animal breeding, again, this falls under agriculture. Yeah, so they cover both as well. Ever since farming began, and the whole idea again is to combine them together to get a particular characteristic that you want. All right, so a quick question here. Are seedless fruits genetically modified? Yeah, so I think we are all aware of it as well. There's a lot of them now. Grapes used to have seeds. Watermelon used to have a lot of seeds. Orange used to have seeds. What other food did I not? Highlight? What else is seedless now? A lot of things are seedless, right? Interestingly. Okay, so 48 of you, wow, 48 of you say yes, and then 4 of you said no. Is that about everyone now? All right, so let me just show it to you. I'm not sure if some of you are already doing this. Are seedless fruits genetically modified? Okay, all right. So if you go and find out, yeah, if you go and read and so on and so forth, the answer is no. I honestly fall into the same category as you. When someone first asks me this question, I will fall into the same category of you to say that it's a yes. Obviously, they modified something, then the seeds are gone, right? So actually, it's not. Yeah, it is not genetically modified. It's the type of breeding. I'm not sure if I use the word, the type of planting that they do, right? They combine certain types of traits of certain types of plants that they have and fruits that they have in order to get a whole generation of fruits which are seedless. Yeah. So 59 of you have learned something new today. Seedless fruits are not genetically modified. Yeah. The 6 of you here, I'm not sure if you have Googled first before answering. Maybe that's why you got the right answer. But anyway, nevertheless, we all learned something new today. So this is a very popular term being used across. I think someone mentioned it in the chat earlier as well to highlight the term GMO, right? Genetically modified organisms. So there is a lot that can go into these areas. But of course, the current slide that I'm showing you now is how crop modification has basically happened. So the seedless ones, right? The ones that are seedless, as you can see, this is a crop modification aspect of it. So it's the way that they actually plant certain types and certain maybe I would have to say a certain trait or a certain type of fruit that they have with specific traits for them to get seedless ones later on after that. Yeah. So Bakar is saying, how can you get more seedless fruits without seeds? Very good question, right? So you need to go in if you are interested, yeah? And you don't need to learn this now, but as you can see, this is one of the main processes of what we call crop modification technique, but it is not genetically being modified per se. Yeah, there's crossbreeding, there's mutagenesis, genesis where you can actually combine. There's other processes here, genome editing. But of course, when you go down to genome editing, then there's a lot of other things that can happen out of it as well. All right. Okay. So to be fair, yeah, Bakar, just a quick response to your question. When you say when you've eaten seedless stuff, right? Do you really think there is no seed at all? There are seeds, right? You have eaten a seedless orange before. You have eaten a seedless watermelon before. But I'm very sure you have seen traces of seeds in there before. It's just that their seeds are very small. It's so small that you don't care about it. You just swallow everything anyway. Yeah. So as you can see here, this is just a website that highlights about GMO and basically the food supply. So you see there's a lot of our day-to-day items now that we are consuming. A lot of them are already genetically modified. Yeah, a lot of the things that we eat today, originally those food, it doesn't taste like what we tasted. It doesn't look like what it looks like today as well. Yeah, and I'm not sure if you are surprised. So obviously, you see apples here, you see corn here, you see papayas here, right? You see potatoes here. If you really go and find out, right, potatoes were probably something that was not really, there were a lot of issues with potatoes before, that now how we see potatoes is a huge change from what they were before. Yeah, and all again thanks to biotechnology. All right. So just to do a side-by-side comparison, I just wanted to let you know this. There's a lot of when you're learning about biotech, right, and you hear about something which is genetically modified, you always have this certain perception about it that is always negative. Yeah, but it's not necessarily negative. There's a lot of positive aspect to it as well. All right, nutritional value can actually increase because of genetically modified foods and products. Yeah, crops can be produced with lesser issues, better yield. They can even kill pests, as highlighted earlier, the whole BT bacteria that you saw just now, and so on and so forth. Of course, they have their own risks as well. Yeah, because then with certain types of plants that are being genetically modified, or even animals which are genetically modified, later on there might be issues with the further generation, because then it is something that we have not anticipated until now yet. So those are other areas which are being highlighted here. All right, red done, green done. Now we move on to white. Yeah. So white biotechnology, this is your keyword. Industrial. Anything which is industrially related. All right. So what normally how biotech got involved in industrial processes, because they are always trying to make two things. They are trying to make things more effective. They are trying to make things more efficient, for example. Yeah. So as you can see here, resource consuming anything so that they can design low resource consuming process, therefore making it using lesser materials so that it can run on lower heats. Yeah, the process is much faster. White biotech is more concerned about those things. Okay, Some examples are given down here, using microorganisms in any type of chemical production to speed certain processes up sometimes. Textile. In the textile industry, a lot of biotech application is also involved there as well to get new materials. Our clothing materials, as you see today, when you consider the colors of different types of clothing that we have today as well. And of course, on the other hand, industrial practices and application can also involve things like biofuel. Yeah, a new, or rather a different source of energy to be involved here. Okay. So in relation to biotech, there's some levels of industrial fermentation that can happen as well. Of course, in this case here, is highlighting again those examples which are being given to you. Yeah. Let me ask you two quick questions. Maybe it's a general knowledge, maybe it's something that you know of. Oh wait. Okay, yeah. So there are more examples being shown here, right? So there's the usage of enzymes is affiliated directly to industrial biotech. All right. Most of them are protein based, and of course they then use this for different aspects of manufacturing and so on. Fermentation as well is also being used under industrial biotechnology. So as shown here is in terms of in place of petroleum to produce certain types of chemicals. The last one down here is of course again going back into textile and also connection. Okay, are you guys still there?
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Did you hear my question?
No. I didn't.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. No wonder no one responded to me. All right, I'm just gonna. I think I'm just gonna switch off my video. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps with the internet as well. Wait, let me switch this off. I think my connection is fine now. So do let me know whenever something like that happens again. All right, so I have a question. How many of you here likes the smell of petrol? How many of you here likes the smell of petrol? I thought I switched off my camera. Oh my God. My camera is still on. What? I can't switch off my camera. Oh, okay, all right, done. Oh my God. Shami, is that a typo? Not a typo, is it? I love the taste. Harish say me, Shami says heaven. Okay, all right, interestingly, I see 15 of you. Wow. I've always found this out and it's quite interesting. So anyway, you can lower your hands. Now, is the smell of petrol something that raise your hands? How many of you think that the smell of petrol is intentionally being made that way? The smell of petrol and gas and so on and so forth is intentionally made that way, or is it something natural out of the product itself? If you think it's intentionally made, that means they made sure petrol smells like that. Raise your hands. If you think petrol naturally smells like that after the whole process of it being created, then do not raise your hands. Anyone? A few by the looks of it. Yeah, just a few. Okay, all right. Thank you. Lower your hands. So for those of you who don't know, gas and petrol has a smell. It's not natural. It's something that was being built into it. They created it so that it has that smell. Because gas what? When it's being created in terms of petrol has no smell. Yeah, can you imagine that? When it's being created, petrol has no smell, but they decided to put smell into it. Can anyone try guessing why? Why do they decide with biotech, they made sure petrol has smell? Can you imagine that? Petrol perfumes are also there. Oh my God, Sahad, you're kidding, right? I don't think it's natural. Yeah, the smell is too good. So you detect. Ah, interesting. So some of you are able to identify the reason behind it. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is something that enables you to detect, because then it is something that is important for you to know is there. Yeah, if it's there or it's not there, it's important for you to know. Another one from an industrial biotech perspective as well. You know our soap, right? You know our soap. Making that foam, yeah, making that foam out of the soap, is that necessary to clean your hands? So I think you know the answer by now. Obviously, no. The answer is a no. Yeah. When you are cleaning your hands, the foam that it creates, the foam does not help to clean your hands, right? But the foam is there. Why? Because we as human beings, when you are cleaning, imagine you're cleaning your hands and you don't see anything happening with your hands. You don't feel anything and you don't see anything. You don't see foam, nothing. The perception is that you feel like your hands are not clean. So that's why they make something called foam out of that particular of our like our shampoo or whatsoever or soap. They make foam. They make it foam so that you can see that, okay, now it's full and foamy. I know I'm cleaning my hand, and when I wash it off, when the foam all washes away, then you realize, then to you feel that, okay, now my hand is clean. Yeah, but actually it does not work that way. All right. So those two are examples when I found out, I was very surprised to find out about it as well. Okay, I wanted to feature this particular company because they are here. They are here in TPM. If some of you have been to the, you guys will definitely know the APU campus, but I think most of you know that we have an UPIT campus as well, right? So like currently, actually, where am I sitting in? I am in the UPIT building. Yeah, so it's still within TPM as well. And right beside the UPIT building is this company, right? They are basically from Switzerland. So they are called Novozymes. What do they do? For the first few years, we have been neighbors with them. I never knew what they did until then one day I found out this is what they do. Biotech is their business. Yeah. So they are into a lot of areas of biological solutions, biotechnological solutions, mainly for industries and so on and so forth. Okay. We have had some of our students who are going through their internship or even has basically worked with Novozymes before. All right. Moving on. So the next one is gray technology. So anything that is gray is related to the environment. This looks into environmental application. So when we hear environment, of course, the term that comes along is talking about biodiversity, and as well as, since it's environment related, there's a lot to do with pollutants and contaminants. Yeah. So using anything, using microorganisms to make sure that you are easily able to isolate, easily able to dispose all these chemicals and different substances will be considered under gray technology. Yeah. The most popular application out of this is definitely cleaning up oil spills. Yeah. Environmental biotech was instrumental. They are one of the main advances in terms of all these oil spills you have heard about in many different parts of the world, in the ocean and so on and so forth. Even the most recent and quite bad one that has happened. I think it was the one I remember hearing about early this year was in Mauritius, and that was quite bad. And a lot of those, in terms of cleaning and removing oil spills, is something that falls under environmental biotechnology. All right, they use in waste treatment, they use in pollution prevention, and so on. All right, so the one example here is the one I just highlighted just now. Is a process called bioremediation. Yeah, so whereby they are able to easily process certain waste and allow them to be broken down into safer components. All right, next one is a bit more straightforward. I don't think I need to talk much about it. Is everything and anything to do with biotech and food production. The one that we are more popular, the one that is more popular that we know of is of course cheese, beer, wine, anything which is alcoholic, and of course there's cheese, yogurt, and so on and so forth. So this will fall under biotech. So I will always say that this is also another one that is easier for you to remember because cheese is yellow, then it's easier for you to relate to it as well. Yeah. So from like this example, sorry, I think this picture was supposed to appear earlier under agricultural biotechnology, yeah, under green. So this is definitely one of the stories that have been shared for many, many years that based on biotech, the Hawaii's papaya crops were actually saved. Otherwise, they were going to go extinct simply because of a certain disease that hit the papayas there. But because of biotech, they were able to develop what we call a virus-resistant crop, and then therefore this particular fruit was able to survive. All right, the last one, blue technology. Anything to do with the ocean, anything to do with marine, anything to do with aquatic applications will fall under blue biotech. You can read some of the examples here. I'm just going to go quickly into this image instead. So there can be a lot of marine-related living resources which are being used, right, to then create what we have today. They are used to create drugs. They are used to create biofuels for food purposes, for electricity purposes as a resource. So a lot of those marine life is also being used within this area. So this is then blue biotech. Okay, all right. So now when we move from all the 6 different colors you saw there, but not forgetting, I showed you a website earlier that also covers other aspects, other colors as well. Overall, for applications of biotechnology, there's a lot of the ones which we are more interested in. Yeah, nutrient supplements, all the vitamins that you see today, all from biotech. Yeah. Stress resistance, industrial biotechnology, strength fibers, biofuels, healthcare, food processing. A lot of these examples you saw from when we went through the different applications earlier. Yeah, even fabrics, detergents that we have today, wound dressings, a lot of areas of of medicine was also improved by application of biotechnology. So this is another website I'm also providing to you. Again, to go across to see the different types of application, some even more examples being provided here. So you see medical here again. You see, so they break it down in the sense that you see the type of biotechnology, then they give you examples. Yeah, this is the best way to learn this particular topic, is to look at the type and then look at the examples. So again, you see vaccines here, you see antibiotics here, you see agricultural. Yeah. Then you see examples of agricultural here as well. And then as you go, you will see industrial biotech, what kind of examples are being provided there. Environmental. And then, of course, there's other classification as well. Yeah. The other classifications, if you're not so aware of, is fine. Like, for example, gold is actually referring to bioinformatics. But there's actually others as well, right? There's also aspects of violet and dark, as I showed you earlier. The last part of this website is also going into applications of biotech. So you see nutrient, the list that you saw earlier. Yeah. So some of the explanations are here, so you can refer to it and also see what exactly are they talking about. So they even talk about things like Kevlar and creating certain materials stronger than Kevlar. So why is Kevlar popular? Again, movies and series have taught us about Kevlar, which is a material which is bulletproof. Yeah, but with biotech, even more of those items can actually exist basically today. Yeah, so biotechnological techniques have been used to pick the genes found in spiders and their infusion in goats to produce the silk proteins in their milk. So as you can see, a lot of this application has gone quite advanced and gone quite far. There's biofuels. Whenever we speak about biofuels, there's a lot of different materials that can be used to make into fuel, not just the one that we are aware of currently. All right. Okay, so in terms of the use of biotech, a lot of aspect is always to go into healing purposes, right? So that's why you see here, reducing infectious disease, saving lives. Of course, anything which is life-threatening condition now is not anymore, thanks to vaccines that are available today. Also, more importantly, is to create more precise tools for disease detection. We spoke a bit about CRISPR last week as well. We also talk about how telemedicine and telehealth was also very helpful as we go. Yeah. All right, quick question. Are you COVID-19 vaccinated? Let me just switch this off so that more of you can answer. Is everyone vaccinated already? Is that everyone? No. Almost everyone, is it? Dinesh is saying, should be yes. Why is it a should be? Jamil says, yes, I am. Jamil, did you reply through quizzes or you couldn't get access into quizzes, is it?
Sir, my quizzes is lagging a bit.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right, no problem. I see Shami saying, I haven't got the booster jab. Yeah, I'm not talking about the booster jab yet. Of course, for now, is just your 2 doses of vaccination that you're supposed to get. All right. Great. I think that's basically almost everyone. One of you said soon. Can I know who this is? This is one of those awkward silence. Okay, all right. Anyway, so of course, it's good to know that everyone is being vaccinated. It's something important enough for us to do now. But of course, this will then lead towards the next question, yeah? Which, oops, I will end the question now, even though there are 6 of you that seems to be missing. I only know one of them is Jamil. I'm not sure who else is there. So, in your opinion, why are there COVID-19 anti-vaxxers, those who are against vaccines? Why do you think these people exist? And of course, there were protests going all around. Let me call my own shots. No forced vaccines. Until today, you still see you will definitely still see there are people who will say that vaccines may not necessarily be useful. Vaccines are not necessarily there to do what they're supposed to do. There are other issues around it and blah, blah, blah. But again, what do you know about this? Karen's insecure. Oh my God. Facebook moms. Scared of side effects. Not educated. Oh wow. Kaifeng, you will be surprised. I have found those which are educated and still does not want to be vaccinated. But the ones that those of you who mentioned side effects, I think the first one here is Elvis. Scared of side effects, scared of the issue of even dying and going through all that. Yes, I do agree that that can be one of the issues currently. Yeah, they're scared of becoming a zombie because they thought it will kill humans. I guess so. Because they are not a doctor. Huh? Really? You have to be a doctor to want to be to take COVID? To want to take vaccines? Oh wow, Michelle, really? Are you sure that none of these people are people you know? So the side effects is definitely one of the leading answers and response to this, because of the side effects, because of what they have heard of people going through in terms of the side effects of taking certain types of vaccines and so on. Yeah. Insecurity, selfish. They like to stir up controversy. Interesting point, because this can also go in many different ways, whether it's political, whether it's not as well. Scared, believe in false information. Agreed. Fake news. belief in false information is also extremely popular. Yeah. Fear of needles. Interesting point by Jin Yan. Fear of needles. Because COVID vaccine is compulsory. No, that's not the point. You can tell them it is compulsory, and yet you can still have people who say, I need to have the choice of being vaccinated. All right, rumors on point. I'm not sure. Yeah. We are getting chipped. That's the news. That was another fake news going around. They maybe have some own religious culture that don't allow them to take injection or something, but that is their life. You also can't force them, but they're not allowed to go social with other people. Then, wow, very detailed answer by Singfong. But I agree. Yeah, it can be of a different beliefs and understanding as well. When we talk about beliefs and understanding, it depends. It can be religion related. It can be other aspects related as well. Yeah. All right. So there are many different examples. I'm just putting a few more here. As you can see, lowering the temperature for cleaning clothes. Because of biotech, we are able to clean clothes at lower temperatures. We are able to clean clothes faster as well. A lot of processes of manufacturing has been improved. Reducing certain usage or reliance on petrochemicals because you have other options today. Decreasing water usage. More importantly, some processes require a lot of water, but because of where biotech comes into the picture, you can reduce that a lot as well. Yeah. So this is one area that biotech has contributed a lot into in relation to food. Yeah, in relation to different aspects of crops. So higher crop yields, fewer inputs, it require lesser for you to do more as well. Using biotech that need fewer application of pesticides, enhanced nutrition profiles, free of allergens. That means they are not easily affected by the environment and so on. Yeah. What other items, other than the ones that I've highlighted, can you think of anything else within your household? Right, within your household is also a result of biotechnology. Please don't mention shampoo anymore. Please don't mention, we talk about soap and shampoo, so please avoid that. Anything else that you can think of in your house that is actually a result of biotechnology? What else in your house is a result of biotechnology? Yay! So Tina said bread. Wei Huan covers quite a lot. Exactly. All your vitamins, all your supplements are all biotech. Your cooking oil is biotech. Red paper. What is red paper, Elalam? Red paper. Tissue paper, insulin, yogurt. Yes.
Sir, I mean red pepper. It's like my connection is really bad.
What do you mean?
Red pepper, sir.
Red pepper.
Yeah.
Oh, red pepper, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that, I guess that is something that is sitting in your house now. So yeah. What? Excel, really? Chicken chop. If you want to go into chicken, remember a lot of eggs that we have today, the different types of eggs and the different types of nutrients that comes with those eggs. Those are a result of biotechnology as well. Cheese, medicine, vitamins, medicine, food, sugar. Okay, all right. I think you guys get the idea of it. Fingerprint lock. Interesting. Yep, I can definitely consider that under biotech as well. A lot of cheese supporters here. I guess there's a lot of people who likes cheese. Pillow and bed, Sam, really? Mr. Samuel, pillow and bed? How is pillow and bed biotech? Is your pillow and bed made out of? Alarm came in again, but then it's still the wrong spelling, by the way. Probiotic yogurt. Good point by Harini. Myself, I'm just built different. Shami, please continue with answers like this, and then you're going to fail this module, and I get to see you again next semester. Mosquito spray, insect repellent. Good point, Sutesh. Filtered water. Okay, all right. I'm going to end the question here. Okay, so that's done. Nice and simple. Nice, and I would like to consider it a nice and simple area to cover in terms of biotechnology. All right. I have only one more thing to do before I let you go. So should we do it like last week as well? I just cover this and let you go, or do you want to go for a break? If you want to go for a break, do raise your hands. Otherwise, I finish this up. I just have to basically brief you on the weekly task, and then you can go. Giving a few seconds for someone to think about taking a break.
Sir, you can just brief us.
Let's just go straight into it. Let's just finish it. Yeah, okay, all right. I just need to make sure everyone is given a voice. So if any one of you raise their hands, we will go for a break, yeah? I want to be fair to everyone. I know some of you will say that doesn't sound very fair, but yeah. Okay, we'll go into it. One last thing to do with you is because of the announcement of tomorrow's public holiday, I'm not meeting the students of CT. So that is why I wanted to brief this here and now. Plus, for those of you who I have briefed 2 days ago, I think you need some clarity, further clarity as well. So this week is technology and the web. Now, please understand the connection here is between technology and information related to the technology available on the web, available on the internet. Yeah. So across, when it says here, how is the internet assisting the technology overall, right, is something that you need to cover in, and there are 4 main items highlighted down here. Yeah. All right. Heidi is asking, sir, are we going to get a replacement class for tomorrow? All right. Now, for now, I don't really need to officially replace the class for tomorrow, right? And I'm already using this time now to brief you on this task, so you still get to continue and to do the task. Yeah. There's only one other activity that was being done in class, and that is something actually I can just assign to you after this, and it's not an issue. Yeah. Am I seeing a sad face there by Heidi? But yeah. But if we really need one, we will plan for one later. Once I see you all in class, which is basically next Friday, then we will talk about it. Yeah. So now what are you trying to do here is that you need to reflect on this main question. Yeah, you need to reflect on this main question. How is the internet assisting the technology? Yeah, how is the internet assisting the technology? There are different ways you want to look at it. First and foremost, you want to see, is the internet helping to promote the technology? Yeah, is the World Wide Web helping to promote the technology? And having to promote here also includes having to provide awareness for the technology. Are there sufficient information available online? This is the main question here. Yeah, so that's why a few examples given here is that you need to then check if they have a proper corporate website, if they have a proper, and from their corporate website, do they provide you enough information about the technology? Why am I saying this? Some of you may find out that there is a company website, but the company website did not talk enough about the technology. Then here you are evaluating to say that, oh, there is a company website, yes, but the company website is basically not really promoting and providing awareness for the technology. So that's why you need to evaluate that. But don't just stop at the corporate website. You also need to go on to other related blogs and forums or anywhere else that is basically used in terms of the platform to talk about the technology. Yeah, all right. So the first one is just for you to you can do something as simple as when you start Googling about your technology, right? How many websites and how many sources do you find? Are they all relevant to your technology? Are they helping to promote and to provide awareness of the technology? So this is the first question, or rather the first statement here that you need to show. So obviously screenshots is needed here. Yeah. So even though you're only creating a draft by next week, I hope you put screenshots into this. Make sure you put proper screenshots into it and ensure that it is something that you will be able to show that this is your finding. Services provided. So what kind of services are provided in relation to the technology? 2 points are being highlighted here. Yeah. Can you find anywhere online that there are actually feedback from users about how this technology is being provided to them, with feedback from them in relation to them using the technology? Are you able to find feedback online? Yeah. And if you can find it, where do you find it? Are they reliable? You must always ask yourself, this information that you find online, is it reliable? Second point, Are there any technical support available as a service online in relation to this technology? Yeah. So technical support, of course, goes into whether it is easy, it is something that you are able to get help in relation to. So, for example, I think there's one group in class that chose iRobot, the robotic vacuum cleaner. Yeah. Are there proper technical support being provided by the company, and if it's not the company, maybe provided by someone else? Is it available online? Is it easily available online? Is it reliable if it's available? Yeah, so that's what this whole week's task for technology and the web is. You keep going back towards to see whether the internet and the and online platforms and websites, do they really help the technology or not? The third one is general information on the internet. Yeah, so you can check on Google and to see how much information is there, and also to check through YouTube as well. Yeah, so what kind of videos are available in relation to your technology? Again, are they reliable? Are they providing a clear information about your technology? So you need to show that, you need to show whether these general information do exist or not. Last but not least, you need to point out the strengths and the weaknesses of those links and websites and platforms that you find. Yeah, does it really help in providing information to the technology or not? Yeah, so if you notice, right, this last point here is similar to this point down here. I think I had quite a number of groups who came and asked me, what is this for, yeah, sir? Point out focus into one of the areas. So what is this for? This is just an additional line here to make sure that as you are doing all of this on the top, right, you are focusing into one particular area. All right. This one that you see here now for week 4 is basically doing the same thing. This question here, you apply it to everything that you find up here. If there is promotion and awareness on a website, comment on it. Is it considered a strength? Is it something good? Or you find out that, oh, there's actually not much websites talking about it. Even the company website did not really do it properly. So what you're doing basically is you're identifying the weakness. Yeah, all right. And of course, that's how it goes. So make sure you're commenting on all the points above here as you go. So anything that is relating the technology to the internet, this is where you're supposed to discuss about it. All right, okay. I've had 2 groups who asked me something about, should we find about how does the technology, maybe in terms of the technology, there's a lot of dangers to the technology. There are negative effects of the technology. Should we also cover those? And for this particular week, I would say, no, don't do that. Because anything that is positive or negative about the technology, you are going to cover it in week 8. Because the effects is here. You are going to cover both positive and negative effects of the technology here in week 8. So for week 4's task, just focus on how available are these information about the technology online. Yeah, how available are they? How reliable are they? How complete is it? Are there proper? Can you easily find information about your technology on the internet? Yeah, because if you can, then it really shows the internet is assisting the technology. Any questions? I hope I didn't drop out. Yes, Tina, go ahead.
Sir, I just wanted to ask about week 4.4, like Roman numeral 4, about the strength and the weaknesses of the website. Also, can it like if we put it like in like advantages and disadvantages of the website?
Yes, you can. That would be fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, awesome. Yeah, as long as your comments is about the website, yeah, focus on that. Don't talk about the strength and weaknesses or disadvantage and advantage about the technology yet. You haven't reached that week to talk about that. You are commenting purely on what the website is like. Of course, the word website here, there can be a lot of other sources that you find. Yeah, maybe you find a dedicated YouTube page and YouTube account that talks about your technology, or you find a different source of it where the information is coming from. You can comment on those as well. All right. All right. So I see no questions, no so far. Deadline to submit group of assignment. Can anyone answer Saad for me? No, no one.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. I just have a question also about the last point.
Okay.
So my group is doing Netflix, right? And our whole technology is mostly based on the website aspect.
Okay.
So if we're gonna actually talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the website, it's the same thing as us talking about the strength and weakness of the entire technology we're talking about.
Okay, all right. So in your case, do not focus on Netflix. Focus on other websites that is providing information about Netflix. You get what I mean?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's the
All right.
focus.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Oh no, no one is able to know when is the deadline. All right. So if you go into Teams, I'm showing you on my screen now. Was Tina about to say something?
Oh my God, no.
Okay, all right. At least you now know that you are unmuted. So I messaged everyone in the group about this already. I wanted to standardize this. Yeah. So this is my view. As far as I'm aware of, maybe your view is a bit different. But anyway, so if you notice here, every week's task, the due is already decided. And you get to view it by going into Teams and clicking on assignments. Yeah. You will see it start from weekly task 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way until weekly task 10. To standardize it so that it's easier for me to check as well, it is on the Sunday of every week. So if you look at it here, weekly task 4, technology and the web, is on the Sunday of next week. So which means I give you the task today, this week, you will have by the end of next week to finish it. And it will follow the same trend every time. All right, it will be to finish it by the end of the week after. So please take note of this. This is your due date. They are all fixed for the whole semester. Yeah. Sutesh is saying week 11. That is the deadline to submit of. Oh, okay, all right. I'm sorry, Saad. I thought you were talking about the weekly task submission. You guys are talking about the submission. You are suddenly talking about the submission of the whole exam. Sorry, of the whole assignment. Such a random question, but relevant anyway. You should make sure all of you are able to access Moodle. I'm showing it to you now where it is. So please, the dates are already fixed there on Moodle. There is something for you to do there and you need to be aware of. It's only fair that you are aware of it. When you go down to something called summative assessment, yeah, if you can't find summative assessment on the left here, you can also click on summative assessment. Let me just zoom in a bit. When you scroll down, you will see that your group report is due on the 4th of February. All right. And your presentation slide and video, there's a video recording that you must submit. And this is going to be due on 11th February. Right? So take it easy. It's only December now. We still got a lot of time to go. More importantly, which this just reminded me, I'm supposed to announce this and to make sure that all of you are aware, we have a class test before all of you go for your year-end break. Yeah, we do have a class test before you go for your year-end break, which will be made up of 10 multiple choice questions and as well as only one short essay question. All right. So it is going to cover the first 6 topics, which means it will cover all the way until power and energy resources. Okay. I think that's basically it. Looks like everything that I need to cover today. Did I miss out on any messages earlier? What is this? No, 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 no. It's not a sad face. Oh, okay, all right. Heidi is saying it's not a sad face. Okay, all right. No problem. I thought that looks like a sad face. I've learned the hard way last semester. I'm finishing before Christmas. Oh, good for you. I'm not sure how, but yeah, good for you. I had something else I wanted to say. Hold on, yeah. I just need to check on something. because I'm pretty much done for the day. Which also means at the same time, if you can think of any questions you want to ask, you should do it now. Okay, this was what I wanted to highlight. All right, I've been looking at some of your submissions. Where do I go? Teams, assignments, weekly task 2, yeah. So as far as I'm aware of, all of you have submitted. I will have to double check. I see 17 of you here. So please be clear, yeah. I made the instruction very clear that only one of you is to submit. So please make sure only one of you is submitting, not two of you from the same group submitting. And on the other hand is, I've noticed, I think this is for everyone. On a weekly basis now, when you submit your work, I would want you to make sure that there are references provided. Yeah, there are references provided. I see a lot of content being provided. I want you to provide some references. Even if the format is not in APA format yet, that's not an issue. You can just paste the link for now. So once I see the end of your content, I want to see basically links at the bottom, because I want to see where are your information coming from. So from now onwards, every week when you submit your draft here, it is important for you to show that. Yeah. So as and when I view it, this is what I will see. Your document is there. You have labeled it accordingly, and I get to see your content as we go and so on. Yeah. But at the end of it, just put a few links down there to show me that those are the links where you referred to for your information. Okay. That was what I wanted to remind everyone. All right. Okay. So if that's it, then we are good to go by the looks of it. I will take your attendance now, Thursday. Then all of us can go and enjoy our long weekend that suddenly came about because the Kuala Lumpur Football Club decided to win the league after 32 years. All right. Okay, so once you're done, you're allowed to leave. Thank you very much. It's always fun when it comes to our class together. And have a good break, a good weekend, long weekend ahead, and see you all next week.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. See you.
Sir?
Yep.
Can you mark my attendance? It's Siddharth Khan.
Why?
Mine is failed. I put the code and they said they failed the attendance.
Did this happen to you last week as well?
No, sir. It's first time.
Oh, I see. Okay. If it is a consistent problem, please make sure you go and solve it, yeah?
Sure, sir.
Okay, all right.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having some problem with the Wi-Fi connection in my phone. So if you can just mark my attendance, Mohammed. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Doesn't happen again and again, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? No one? All right. If there are no questions, I'll end the call now, yeah?
Okay, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Stay safe. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a good weekend as well.
Hey, thank you, sir.
All right. Bye.